Oh hey guys, didn't see you there. You may ask, why are you so snazzed up today? Well, what if I told you I had a date? Yup, it's true, I have a hot date. But, in preparation, I must remove everything from my person that emits virginity. For one, my pants. Give them a little shake and... No. Maybe later. Oh, okay. Fine, I lied about the date. I just wanted to sound cool. But now that you guys do know, I am in the perfect position to compare these two games, just like old times.
Remember that old series I did where I compared Mario and Sonic games that were known as competition for one another? You do? Cool. You may also remember in the last one that I said that next time I would compare Mario 64 and Sonic Adventure to one another. Well, just like my date, that was a lie. I'll do that one next time. Will I have a date next time? I don't know yet. Anyway, let's talk about Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars. It's not often that we get a Mario and Sonic game that are released in such close proximity to one another, and I don't think that was intentional. In the 90s, Sonic had a fighting chance in selling more copies than Mario for the sole fact that he was more hip and edgy. But in the modern age, to many, even after the release of things like the Sonic movies and Sonic Prime, the Sonic the Hedgehog series is looked at more as a joke. Of course, it was a lot worse in the early 2010s, but still, the Sonic series has significantly less respect than the Mario series in the modern day. Which may or may not have been deserved. It was. But we don't have time to get into that rabbit hole. In June of 2023, during the Summer Games Fest, Sonic Superstars was announced. And at the time, many people were talking about how awesome this classic Sonic game looked, even myself to a degree. But later in the month, on June 21st, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct, and you know what they announced? The first 2D Mario game in 11 years, really making Sonic Superstars look not great. And almost immediately, the respect Sonic Superstars had was given to this new game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And then that wasn't enough, so people had to start criticizing Sonic Superstars for things that you could also criticize Super Mario Wonder for, but nobody cared because it's Twitter, and Twitter feeds off of double standards. And also racism. That's a whole can of worms I already did a video about, so give it a watch. I wrote a :3 in the script. Pretend I'm doing the little cat :3 face. Yeah. But I digress. They're both given a release date of October 17th and October 20th. Oh, yep, let's take a guess. Which game is selling more? But sales don't indicate what the better game is. I do, which is why I want to compare both of these games in different categories and see what the winner is at the very end. Now, I changed up the categories a little bit from last time to be more relevant to these games, so here are the categories. And with all that being said, let's start the comparisons. You may be confused on what I mean by general introduction. Well, what I mean is how the games open and which one seems to have a better approach. Sonic Superstars opens up like many other Sonic games with a short animated cutscene with upbeat music to go along with it. However, I will say the opening for this game just doesn't have the same magic as one like Mania does. Like, they use pretty much the exact same art style, but the new animation studio has the characters constantly go off model and move weird. It never looks bad, but it doesn't have the same charm as the animation from Mania. I have the same problem with many of the animations in Sonic Origins as well, but it's elevated here. But it's still a fun opening with some great music. And then after this, we're given a short cutscene explaining the general plot of how Eggman wants to steal the Chaos Emerald to become all powerful and take down Sonic, blah blah blah. But then we're shown how this time Eggman has gotten Fang to help take down Sonic and his friends. Yeah, Eggman contracted a Jeraboa to help take down a group of animals with extraordinary powers. The Jeraboa has a gun. Anyway, while still being a basic Sonic plot, I do really like how this game opens. It's not really doing anything special, but it also didn't really have to. Mario Wonder opens up with a general introduction to the kingdom this game takes place in, and it also allows you to get a gist of the controls. It also shows how Mario and all of his friends were invited to the Flower Kingdom. And then it's revealed that Bowser's also there and he's being a bad guy, who would have known, as he steals the Wonder Flowers, which are basically the grand stars of this kingdom, but they also have a mysterious property where they distort the world in different ways. But then it tells you must go through all the worlds, collect all the Wonder Flowers, save the kingdom, but I'll get to all that when talking about the gameplay. I really liked both openings for this game, but I think objectively Mario Wonder has the better opening. Sonic Superstars has stylistically the better opening in my opinion, because you get a cool animation of Sonic and his friends doing Sonic and his friends stuff. But Mario Wonder puts the plot first, lets you interact with the world, and introduces you to the gameplay. So while I like the Sonic Superstars opening more, Mario Wonder is objectively the better opening because it acts as a sort of tutorial. Which, like, it's f***ing Mario, you don't need a tutorial for a Mario game, but it's nice to be able to run around without worrying about enemies and platforming. So yeah, I'm gonna give Mario Wonder the point here. You may say, well, why would the art style matter? It doesn't make a difference in the core game. Which, yeah, that's true, but I find myself enjoying games a lot more if I find the art style appealing. And both of these games have very different styles from previous games in the series, but which one is the better style? Well, Sonic Superstars uses a very similar style to the classic Sonic levels in Sonic Generations and the Wrath of God, but they took what worked about these styles and expanded upon them in many ways, like making them less boring. Mostly in the lighting department, everything else looks similar for the most part, however I do find myself enjoying looking at this game more than the previous 2.5D Sonic games. Looking at Sonic 4 specifically. That game. And I also really enjoy the updated classic Sonic models they made for this game. I never loved how they portrayed classic Sonic with 3D models, I always thought it looked kind of emotionless and too corporate. And while not all my problems are gone, I really like what they did fix because now classic Sonic can actually emote in much more vibrant ways. One of my main problems with the Generations and Forces style for classic Sonic is that they just felt cheap. Possibly because it was a horrible recreation of the classic Sonic physics, but I think a lot of it comes from the incredibly bland lighting. And like I said, a lot of it was fixed for this game, and I really like that because, it sucked before. Like, really bad. In my video I made a while ago talking about the discourse between Sonic Superstars and Mario Wonder, I said how I preferred the style they used in Sonic Mania with the beautiful pixel art. And while I still agree, I enjoy the style of this game a lot more than I originally expected I would, and I'm happy to say that I would like to see them improve on this. Also, I do want to say I like the cover art for this game, however the reversible cover art is so much better for this game, and I don't know why that wasn't the final cover art. It kind of pisses me off because the better art is right there. I'll stop. Mario Wonder uses a drastically different style from any previous Mario game, and I really enjoy it. I like how they actually made the characters have expressions unlike their soulless faces and movements in the new Super Mario Bros. Series. I also enjoy how it sort of reminds me of the old 80s style they use for a lot of Mario art. It's not like one-to-one, but it gives me the same vibes, and I really like that. And I'm happy to say that pretty much all characters are this way, especially Yoshi. I love his expressions. And also many of the level backgrounds are beautiful, and it's so cool to see that pretty much every level has a different piece of art behind it. This game also has these Wonder Flowers, which I'll talk about more in the gameplay section, but they often distort the level, and I love the style they use for many of these. When this game was first shown off this summer, the biggest talking point was this new style, but I do think the style could get old if they use it too much. A solution to this would be to not release a new 2D Mario game every 3 seconds like they did before, but I want to see this style get used sparingly so it doesn't get old. I'm also going to give this point to Mario Wonder. I just found the style they used a lot more enjoyable and fresh, until they make it not fresh in about a year and then release 6 more of these games. You guys are not going to believe this. They're just another Mario and Sonic game at the end of the day. I wonder who said that before the games were released. Me. I said it. Sonic Superstars is pretty much just another classic Sonic game, but I will say they utilize the extra power they had with the new engine very well. For one, I noticed a lot more moments where you're going super fast compared to Sonic Mania, as well as introducing new gameplay scenarios at different points. Like in the level Cyber Station Zone, which by the way is the best level in the game in terms of style and gameplay. Why is this the shortest zone in the game with only one act? Sorry. Anyway, in the level Cyber Station Zone, you turn into a little squid and you float around the level, or you turn into a rat and do this little rat maze. Or in the level Golden Capital Zone, many parts in the level have you bouncing around everywhere like you're playing pinball, which could get annoying, but it was very cool in some portions, especially the boss. All of these are, in my opinion, really fun ways to spice up the gameplay, plus a basic gameplay of classic Sonic is, in my opinion, one of the best ways a platformer's ever been designed. One worry that a lot of people had when this game was coming out was that the physics wouldn't be one-to-one with the original Genesis games or Sonic Mania. And I will say, in no way do we need something exactly like that. I would love to see them try something different like the Sonic Advance games, but at this point using the original Genesis physics is probably the best idea with the general distaste of the physics in games like Sonic Generations, Forces, and Sonic 4. And when I started this game, I was pleasantly surprised with how similar this game was to the originals. Of course there's differences, but my playthrough as Sonic and a little bit as Knuckles, I didn't notice any changes that really mattered. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could tear the physics in this game apart from the originals, but I don't really care as long as it's fun to play, then it's fine with me. And I assume in future updates of this game, they'll slightly tweak some of the things that people are complaining about, and I think that's pretty cool. So overall, I really like what they did with Sonic Superstars, adding new level gimmicks and gameplay variations, but still staying true to the old classic Sonic games. And now going to Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder is also pretty much just another Mario game. I wonder who could have predicted that. In no way is it as basic as the new Super Mario Bros. Games in any way, and in no way is being just another Mario game a bad thing, but I do enjoy what they added to the general gameplay. The main new thing they added to this game was the Wonder Flowers / seeds you need to collect around the levels to progress. But the cool thing about these is that they usually drastically distort the level until you collect the seed, and most of the time it's awesome to play. And most of the time it's a brand new thing to do in each level, some of my favorites being the races against a shadow version of yourself and the random quiz that caught me off guard. Although I will say these can be pretty short and sometimes they can be pretty boring and not very fun, but for the most part they were great. But not just that, but there are 24 badges you can unlock in this game which change up the gameplay in different ways that can help you, or allow you to play a level in a completely different way. In my playthrough, I found myself only using 3 to 4 and kind of ignoring the rest, but once I beat the game, I started messing around with the other ones and had a lot of fun. Some badges are better than others, of course, but I still think it's awesome that they give this game so much replayability by just adding simple ways to change up how you play. There's like this one that turns you invisible. Sucks to play, but it's a pretty funny idea. I would like to see someone try and beat the whole game with that badge. Not me, though. Now, I might seem like a broken record here, but I'm gonna have to give this point to Mario Wonder. Mario and Sonic levels, while both being relatively basic platformer levels, work in very different ways. Mario levels for the most part are very linear, only having short extra paths you can go on through the pipes and stuff. What they do is put a clear emphasis on the platforming rather than the exploration and set pieces. Sonic levels, however, are more focused on the exploration with some platforming which allow you to get to the reward, which would be to go fast. They're also usually split up into 3 paths. The top path being the hardest to get to but has the least amount of enemies and allows you to use your speed the most. The bottom path, which has the most enemies and is the hardest but also has the most rewards like rings and items. And the middle path, which works as a middle ground between the top and bottom, having some sections for speed like the top path but still having some challenge like the bottom path. I think Mario Wonder does a very good job at staying to the basic Mario level design while also making some changes for the better, but Sonic Superstars just has the better designed levels, having 3 paths and a lot more to explore. So finally, a point for Sonic Superstars. By the way, even if it wins the next category, it still won't win. Anyway, on to the last category. Alright, let me just say, 2D platformers are not worth $60. In the modern age, most games are worth about $70. Keep in mind these are games like Marvel's Spider-Man, Demon's Souls, Starfield, and all these crazy expansive games. And before they were $70, they were $60, and you can still get many great games for $60. Listen, both of these games are great, but the fact that you can only get one of these games for the same price as GTA 5 is really stupid. I believe that these games should have been $25 to $45. I understand why they didn't because, you know, money, but I think the price ranges of these games are really garbage. I was very lucky to get both of these games for free, but for the people that didn't and had to spend $60 for each of these games, you can't deny that you could be spending your money much more responsibly. I mean, I would have bought them either way, but I also never claimed to be responsible, so double-edged sword here. But which game has more bang for your buck? I hate that term. Well, it's Mario Wonder. It's not even a real question here. The many badges which can change up gameplay variety or the over 100 individual levels in Mario Wonder is crazy. Of course, Sonic Superstars does have much more expansive levels and does shake up the gameplay, but like, come on, Mario Wonder clearly just has more worth to it. So yeah, Mario Wonder wins, almost all categories. But in no way does that mean that Sonic Superstars is bad. I really enjoyed my time with Sonic Superstars. Honestly, it's one of my favorite Sonic games, and I plan on revisiting this game soon because it's a really amazing game. But Mario Wonder is one of, if not my favorite 2D Mario game. It has so much to it, and in my opinion, it is a game I think everyone will enjoy to an extent. Unless you're like one of those people that only play Souls games, I don't think you'll like this one. So yeah, yet another Mario and Sonic comparison. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in that gross little place we call the comment section.
Alright, well, next comparison will be on Mario 64 and Sonic Adventure. Not a lie this time. But also, next time I will have a date. Not a lie this time. You may say, but Coil, you gotta find someone you're passionate about, or else you're gonna be miserable. Well, I'll have you know, I'm passionate about everyone, so that's why I'm gonna be asking out the first person I see on the streets. I don't want to talk about it.